Rohan was a boy unlike any other in his village. While others went about their daily lives, he was plagued by questions about happiness, suffering, and the meaning of peace. He had heard stories of Gautam Buddha, the Enlightened One, and the wisdom he shared with those who sought it. One evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon, painting the sky in warm hues, Rohan made a decision. He would leave his home and journey to find Buddha, hoping to free himself from the restlessness that burdened his heart. With only a small cloth bag slung over his shoulder and a fire of curiosity burning within him, Rohan stepped onto the dusty path that stretched beyond his village. His journey had begun. Encounters along the way, the skeptic's doubt. After days of walking, Rohan met a weary traveler sitting beneath a large oak tree. The man's face was lined with years of hardship, and his voice carried a tone of deep cynicism. "You're seeking peace," the traveler scoffed. "There is no such thing. Happiness is nothing more than an illusion, gone before you can grasp it." Rohan listened patiently, sensing that beneath the traveler's harsh words lay a deep longing. Instead of debating, he asked, "If happiness is an illusion, what is it that you wish for the most?" The traveler fell silent. His hardened expression softened for just a moment. Though he did not say it aloud, Rohan understood. Sometimes even those who deny peace crave it the most. The hermit's wisdom. Further into his journey, Rohan stumbled upon a secluded forest where an old hermit lived in quiet solitude. The hermit sat by a clear flowing stream, his eyes holding a depth of understanding that words could never express. "Why do you seek answers from another?" the hermit asked, as Rohan explained his quest. "The peace you seek is already within you." "But how do I find it?" Rohan asked. The hermit smiled. "By letting go. The more you cling to your worries, the more they control you. Sit, breathe, be present." Rohan stayed with the hermit for several days, practicing meditation and learning to silence his mind. With time, he began to feel a shift within him, a quiet understanding that peace was not a place to be reached, but a state to be embraced. The grieving mother. One evening, Rohan reached a small village where he met a woman sitting outside her home, clutching a small pendant. Her eyes were filled with sorrow. "My son," she whispered, her voice trembling. "He was my world, and now he is gone." Rohan did not have words to erase her pain, but he sat beside her in silence. He thought of the hermit's lesson. The more one holds on to suffering, the heavier it becomes. "Letting go doesn't mean forgetting," Rohan said softly. "It means making space in your heart for love, for peace, for life to flow once more." The woman wept, but this time her tears were not of despair. They were of release. Meeting Gautam Buddha. Finally, after weeks of travel, Rohan arrived at the ashram of Gautam Buddha. He stood in quiet awe as he watched people gather, each seeking wisdom, each carrying their own burdens. Buddha looked upon them with deep understanding. He listened, not just to their words, but to the silence between them. When it was Rohan's turn to speak, he found himself at a loss. All the questions he had carried with him suddenly felt unimportant. Buddha smiled and asked, "Tell me, what is the most beautiful sunset you have ever seen?" Rohan thought back to the evening he had left his village. The golden sky, the cool breeze, the feeling of excitement for what lay ahead. "It was breathtaking," Rohan replied. "And did you try to hold on to it?" Buddha asked. Rohan frowned. "No, that would be impossible. Yet it remains within you," Buddha said gently. "You see, true peace comes not from holding on, but from embracing the moment and letting it pass freely. Just as you cherished that sunset, cherish life without clinging to it. That is the power of letting go." In that moment, Rohan understood. He had sought answers, but what he truly needed was a change in perspective. The return home. Rohan left the ashram not with grand revelations, but with a quiet, unshakable peace. As he walked the familiar path back to his village, he noticed how the wind whispered through the trees, how the river flowed without resistance, how the sky stretched endlessly above him. His journey had changed him, not because he had reached Buddha, but because he had learned to let go of what he could not control. Back in his village, Rohan did not preach his newfound wisdom. Instead, he lived it, through kindness, patience, and a deep appreciation for the present moment. And in doing so, he inspired others to embark on their own journeys of understanding. His story was passed down through generations, not as a tale of finding answers, but as a lesson in finding peace within. And so, the power of letting go continued to touch lives, one heart at a time.